Welcome to another episode of the magazine. Today we're here with Jim Stevens of Gifts to Give. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm actually appreciative and grateful. I have been around the ground for 15 years, and I don't think Gifts to Give has a 10% brand recognition on the South Coast.
Well, now.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. So tell us something about you, Jim.
My story is sad. I'd rather talk about the whys. I'm 74 years old as of 2 weeks ago.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I'm embarrassed for the legacy of my generation. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, 60 years ago, students changed the world. Mm. We impeached a standing president. We ended a war in a foreign country that was unjust. We fostered civil rights and women's rights. Mm-hmm. We went to the moon. Anything was possible. And the issues of my childhood were race, class, and gender. Mm-hmm. And I look at them now, and it's worse. And I'm serious. Right. I mean, do Black Lives Matter? Not that you'd notice. I thought with the recent troubles that students would rise up again, and it didn't happen. Right. The Supreme Court made some rulings recently that took away women's rights. I don't care where your politics are, and are we gender neutral in this country? We're not. And my apology is sincere. I'm embarrassed for the legacy of my generation. And I just didn't want to keep on talking about it. I wanted to do something about it. So
Is that how Gifts to Give came about?
I wanted to build a model that touched 6 touch points, never to have a payroll. Mm-hmm. We're 15 years in and we've never had a payroll. We run the business with boomers. 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every day for, I think, the next 12 years. Mm-hmm. We're in the middle of that aging out. And I think we're the only industrial country in the world that farms off our old people. Mm-hmm. We've got millions of Americans who have managed their money, have managed their health. They're at the pinnacle of their skill set. How much golf can you play? How much bridge can you play? So I wanted a model that could leverage the institutional knowledge of boomers. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be able to attract tens of thousands of kids. If we have a customer at Gifts to Give, it's a student doing volunteer service. Our mission is to connect children to giving and service. And for the last 14 years, 1,000 kids a month come here and volunteer. Wow. 250 kids a week. Wow. And about 100 adults a week. So 5,000 volunteers, adult volunteers, 12,000 kids. The community drops off about 25,000 pounds a week of donations. Wow. And again, I said, I don't think we have a 10% brand recognition. So it's kind of interesting. There's that much stuff out there. Now, the truth is, half of it's crap. Mm. And that's a whole conversation about recycling and why someone would drop off a rusty bicycle. Right. Or why somebody would drop off a game missing half the pieces, or a 100-piece puzzle missing 4 pieces. That's a whole other conversation. But the other half of the donations are gold. Mm-hmm. The children's things we take and we catalog. Okay. We inspect everything by hand. Mm-hmm. The clothes are inspected 5 times. The toys are processed 3 times. Okay. We'll take 100 Matchbox cars, put them on the front of the production line in the toy department, and a 3rd grade class will come after school, and they'll scrub every single Matchbox car with a toothbrush and Simple Green. And they do a 25% good job. They do a crappy job. They're 3rd graders, right? But they had their first altruistic volunteer experience. Exactly. And they start to realize that some of their stuff is treasure, and some other kid could use it. And it's a real inflection point for young people. And then the minute they're out the door, they take a book. We make all the kids take books, and they take a book and they leave. And we take those 100 Matchbox cars, put them back on the front of the line. And the next day, a 5th grade class comes through after school, and they scrub them, and they do a 75% good job. And the minute they take their books and they go, we put them back on the front of the line for the third time.
Okay.
And then on Saturdays, a junior national honor society from the suburbs will come in, and they're all obsessive compulsive seventh graders, and they'll make sure every single one of them is perfect and put it into inventory.
Oh, that's
So
great.
everything we're processing for kids is perfect. And the context for us is child poverty.
Okay.
There's 25 million children in America living in poverty, $17,000 a year for a family of 3. And I can't get my mind around that. And a majority of these kids are living in single head of households run by women. And no one's talking about the attack on poor women. Right. In my calculation, it takes over 120 hours a week at minimum wage to rent a mediocre apartment and feed 2 kids. Now, how does a woman do that on her own and still raise a healthy family? And if the solution for child poverty is public education, which I believe it is, the missing piece is healthy families. So I was also looking for a way to build community around these parents raising children by themselves. How do you build a more caring community? So I think this might be one of the ways to do that. But to get back to the story, after all of the children's stuff is processed, 25 million children living in poverty is outrageous.
It is.
On the South Coast, between Newport and Wareham, our market area, there's 85,000 children. Still a crazy number, but in my mind, more manageable than 25 million. So those are the kids I want to help, those 85,000. And it gets a little depressing. 1 in 10 of those kids is homeless, which means there's 8,500 homeless children on the South Coast. And people say, Jim, that can't be. New Bedford has 21 schools, 21 to 22 schools. I'm not sure which one that is. It enrolled around 13,000 children in the system in September. Over 1,400 were homeless. There's a law in Massachusetts, McKinney-Vento, where public schools have to identify the homeless children, homeless students, and hopefully provide services for them. And the school nurses tell me there's that many kids in New Bedford that aren't enrolled in school, newborn to age 4. So in my mind, we're looking at 2,800 to 3,000 homeless kids just in New Bedford.
Right.
And if you factor in Fall River and Brockton and Taunton and Wareham, you can see the 8,500. And those are the kids we really want to help. So to do that, we've built a really sophisticated online shopping cart, like Amazon.com. And we have 250 agencies plugged into it.
Okay.
That translates to 1,100 users. So our primary customer is a student volunteering, a child volunteering. Our secondary customers are social workers, shelter workers, school nurse. School nurses are our favorite.
Okay.
They know who every single homeless child is in the school. They can go online at givstogive.org. I've got a 9-year-old girl named Mary. She wears size 10 clothes. She needs a week's worth of warm winter clothes. She needs a winter jacket size 12. She could use a book bag and school supplies. And oh, by the way, her mom could use a stroller for her 1-year-old brother. And a volunteer will take that request, go around the factory, find those items, bag them and tag them, and send the email to the social worker, school nurse, shelter worker. It's ready for pickup.
Okay.
So last year, 10,000 local kids got a gift bag. So our metrics are starting to form now.
Yes.
And without a payroll, we've never spent more than $250,000 a year because we don't have the payroll. And for that money, 12,000 kids get to volunteer, 10,000 kids get a gift package. So we're directly touching 22,000 kids, which is, in my mind, the reason we do the work, because it's transparent and you can see the work you're doing.
Sure.
So we're a large-scale platform to connect children to giving and service, and we run it with boomers. Right now there's 138 boomers, seniors, that have keys to our building.
Wow.
120 grandmas and 18 grandpas. A lot of drama. But just hearts full of love and souls generated by grace. It's a great place to be. It's a drop-in. We make it really easy. One of the things that was important to me about this interview with you was it gave me a platform to recruit more boomers.
Okay.
Because I have some serious problems with this model right now, and that's snowbirds. I lose a third of my workforce in the winter,
Okay.
doctor's appointments, and this grandparent babysitting thing is killing me, you know? So we need more boomers to come, and it's a drop-in. But at the end of the day, we're helping build community, and we're not taking anything from the community. We don't take any grants. We've never taken a grant ever.
Okay.
And we stopped doing fundraisers 5 years ago. The donations from the community, a lot of things are great, but they're not for kids. Adult clothes and bric-a-brac and houseware. We used to fill up a Salvation Army truck every week, and it really made us feel good. And then we started realizing all these goods were being sold to fund programs, so we should do the same thing. So we opened a thrift store.
Okay.
And the thrift store is only open on Saturdays.
Only on Saturdays?
Yeah, it takes 15 or 18 grandmas and grandpas to stock it during the week.
Okay.
We have half a dozen teenagers that cashier and customer service on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, the thrift store generated enough sales to pay the whole operating budget.
Wow.
So we've got a nonprofit that has some high impact that is becoming totally self-sustaining.
That's excellent.
So that's what we're about, and we need more adult volunteers.
So how would someone volunteer here? What would the
Total
process
drop-in.
be?
Unless you're a group, we ask groups. Giftstogive.org
Okay.
is our website. All three words put together, GIFTSTOGIVE, giftstogive.org. There's a volunteer tab. If you're a group, you just request a time, tell us how many, what their ages are, and in ages and categories. So we can plan to have volunteers here to help manage the groups. But if you're an individual or a family, it's a drop-in. We're open every day except Sunday. We open every day at 9 o'clock. We close at 5 o'clock every day except Wednesdays and Saturdays. All that's on our website.
Okay.
But we make it really easy for volunteers. So if you're not a group, you can drop in any time. If you are a group, just do a quick, simple form on the website.
Okay.
And there's always a volunteer manager on duty. And if you're just curious, we're open every day but Sunday. Stop by and say you're a curious potential volunteer. And whoever the volunteer manager on duty is will take you on a quick tour of the factory. We've got a 60,000 square foot space. It's huge. Mm-hmm. The bathrooms are always clean. It's warm in the winter. You can get in 5,000 steps in a 3-hour shift if you get the right kind of volunteer gig. So it's a pretty interesting place.
What do you see some of the needs are with the upcoming summer upon us?
Children's books are first of all, children's clothes. Children's summer clothes, that's our number one need. We can't repurpose socks and underwear, toothbrushes and toothpaste. Those have to be new. So we always need donors to help us with socks and underwear for children and toothbrushes and toothpaste. And there's a thing, children's toothbrushes, not adult toothbrushes,
Sure, yeah,
and
yeah.
children's toothpaste, not adult toothpaste. So in terms of need, it's gently used children's clothes.
Okay.
And in the summer is when we collect school clothes for the winter. So
Okay.
when families are making those switchovers, please think about us.
Absolutely.
Our drop-off is 24/7. We have a nice covered lit surveil deck in the back of our building. You can drop off 24/7. If you need a tax receipt or some physical help to unload, we're staffed every morning for a couple of hours, 7 days a week.
Okay.
The volunteers come. Sundays is a big drop-off day for us. We actually have a crew of volunteers that come in on Sundays.
Oh, okay.
Right? But if you're asking, other than our basic needs, books, literacy is crucial to us. More and more children living in poverty aren't graduating high school.
Okay.
And we know some startling facts. A child starting kindergarten at 5 years old from the suburbs has heard 30 million more words than a child starting kindergarten from poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And vocabulary is the precursor to literacy, and literacy is the precursor to school success. And the system is skewed. And if you're not reading for learning by the third grade, you're in trouble.
Right.
So literacy is a big deal. So children's books, we're desperately in need of children's books. We try to make the shopping cart experience simple for our users, the social workers and shelter workers and nurses. We offer a clothes pack, a book pack, and a toy pack. In a perfect world, a kid would get 3 bags: a bag of clothes, a bag of toys, a bag of books. Mm-hmm. A clothes pack is 4 bottoms, 6 tops, 3 pairs of new underwear, 3 pairs of new socks, pajamas, sweater, sweatshirt. So like 20 items of clothing is in a clothes pack. A book pack is always 7 books by age. We stopped gender sorting. And a toy pack is a puzzle, a game, and 5 or 6 toys.
Okay.
And everything going out is perfect. It's as perfect as it can be. Probably, obviously, from the repetitive inspecting. It's not very efficient.
Okay.
All right, 5 inspections of clothing, 3 inspections of toys, processing, 2 inspections of books. It doesn't have to be efficient. Because if we have a customer, it's a volunteer, so we're offering a volunteer experience. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And our volunteers, we're so transparent that the volunteers can see no matter what it is they're doing, it's going to end up in some bags and going out to children.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So the drop-off is easy then. Just come right over here, the location.
Thank you very much. We're at 4 Slocum Street in Acushnet. For people in New Bedford, I tell them we're in the north end of New Bedford. We are literally the first footprint over the Acushnet River from the north end of New Bedford. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's Belleville Ave to Wood Street. Wood Street becomes Slocum, and we're the first building. So it's 4 Slocum Street in Acushnet.
Okay, great. And then people can drop off at any time?
24/7 drop-off. We don't pick up, but we make it easy.
And what is the typical drop-off? What do people typically donate?
Clothes.
Clothes, okay.
Books, shoes, toys, and for children. That's our wheelhouse. Clothes, books, shoes, and toys, and baby safety equipment. We're having a terrible problem with baby safety equipment. We used to get 50 to 60 items a week: strollers, high chairs, car seats, pack and plays. But the suburban mothers and grandmothers have discovered Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
And they're selling them. So we're getting less and less and less baby safety equipment. It's coming to the point now where we're not sure what we want to do in terms of making them available because we're out of stocking so much of it. But anything for kids is our wheelhouse. And now with the thrift store, adult clothes and small home goods. So basically, excluding furniture, we'll take almost anything that we can sell in the thrift store or give to a kid, but it has to be in good shape.
Sure.
And that's making us crazy because everybody's talking one person's trash is another person's treasure. It's not true. Trash is trash and treasure is treasure. And why somebody wants to give us a sweater with a big hole in it.
It's not going to go out. That's good. So, all right, so and people can get a tax deduction, so
we're
instead of selling it on
Facebook,
right.
We offer tax receipts or donation receipts.
Okay, great. Well, I'm thinking about a lot of things that I need to donate, so that's great. So what's the future for Gifts to Give?
To help more children, to get more children to come and volunteer. We have capacity. This is a huge space. So going backwards, to recruit more Ubers, volunteers.
Okay.
Uber is a German word that means extra special.
Okay.
And I've been using it for years in this space for defining volunteers to come back at least once a month. Of our 133 or 38 volunteers, 20 come once a month, 25 come once a week,
Okay.
30 come twice a week. So if I had a wish list, it would be for more Uber volunteers. You know, this taxi company has screwed up that word.
I
you know?
know.
Yeah. To get more seniors to come and volunteer. And there's some seniors that don't like kids. You don't always have to work with kids.
Right.
But I would like some seniors just to book a Saturday, because I would say half of our kids come on Saturdays. They're not in school.
Sure.
All right. And then we need adult help, senior help in the mornings when the kids are in school. And we also have about 450 special needs adults. There must be 20 agencies, yours being one of them.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, that support services for special needs adults. And this is a perfect place because there's 100 different jobs.
Sure.
You know, we go through 1,000 clothes hangers in the thrift store on Saturday. Somebody, the cashier takes the clothes off the hanger, puts the clothes in a bag for the customer, but the hanger goes in a canvas bin.
Okay.
Well, on Monday, there's 1,000 hangers that got to be resorted.
Sure.
You know, so there's something that simple to helping us with puzzle pieces, putting puzzles together, or cleaning children's shoes, or sweeping, or mopping, all right, or higher functioning people, inspecting adult clothes, and if they can't do that, they can at least take clothes that have been inspected and hang them and size them. So there's literally 100 different jobs for 100 different skill sets.
So many different job opportunities, volunteer job opportunities, give back to your community, help children. It's a great mission and vision. And Jim, I can't thank you enough for what you do for this community.
Thanks so much, John.
Thank you, Jim. Now we have the opportunity to talk to some volunteers here at Gift to Give. Welcome, Mary, to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being a part of this.
My pleasure.
So, why do you do what you do?
I like to give back to the community. I feel I've been gifted in many ways in my life, and I have the time now. When I retired from working, I had decided that I used to work 40 hours a week. I would love to give up 1 8-hour day to be in service. And that's why I started working here.
Okay.
And it's very pleasing to know that you put something together that's going to bring a smile to some child's face and some parent's life.
Very nice. And why do you keep coming back?
I think mainly because I guess I work in the order department and I get an opportunity to read a order and try to imagine my children at that age and what they would have liked and what would have made them happy. It gives me pleasure to help other people. I like that they don't know. We don't get to meet them, but they don't know us. We don't know them. That we actually, they get to wear what we like. So it's like, even with your own kids, you don't get to do that sometimes.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
But and also, it's a wonderful group of people. It's the ladies that I work with. We all have come very close. We know each other's families, and we all care about each other. And I think that's really important. If you're going to do something, volunteering, to do something that you love with people you love.
So definitely a place you would encourage people to come volunteer.
Oh my goodness, yes, yeah. It makes a big difference in my life to know that even some days when you have nothing to do, you say, oh, I have a place to go. I always have a place to go, you know, a home to go to. So yes, I definitely would. And there's so many things you can choose to do. I choose the audit department. There's many things that other people can do sitting down, and, you know, it's wonderful, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mary, for all your service and what you bring to Gifts to Give.
Thank you very much, yeah.
Thank you. So now we have another volunteer here at Gifts to Give. Welcome, Marcia, to the show.
Thanks.
So tell us, why do you do what you do?
Having been a teacher for 35 years, I worked with many children who were underprivileged,
Okay.
didn't have what the other kids had. When I finished working and I was looking for a worthy cause to volunteer for, I came across Gifts to Give. And it satisfied what I was looking for in a volunteer job, giving back to kids. It also enables me to work with children, which I missed after I retired. And it just gives me a feeling of giving back,
Okay.
making a difference. I always felt while I was working full-time that I was making a difference. After retiring, I needed something to make me feel good about my retirement, and I found this place, and it's been my purpose
Oh, that's great.
since then.
And is that the reason you keep coming back?
That's part of the reason. The other reason is it's a very welcoming place to volunteer. The people here are wonderful. It's a worthwhile organization. It's amazing what the people in this organization can accomplish. I love seeing the social workers come in to pick up the packages and see how happy they are knowing that their families are going to be thrilled getting the quality of clothes, the toys, the books. It's just it's a fun place to be. I also love working with the younger volunteers who come in, so that satisfies my need to be with younger people. I enjoy doing it. I love to sort, organize, create stories with the items that I gather up and put together. So
Great. And on your name tag it says change maker. So you are a change maker. And so that is probably very fulfilling as a volunteer.
it is. I feel as if I'm doing my small part right now to make a change. I only wish there were more organizations like this throughout the state, the country. I have family and friends who come to visit, and when I take them here, they are amazed at what this organization does. And I've had many people say, "Oh, I wish we had a similar organization in our area," because there's a need. There's a need everywhere in this country.
Sure. What would you do to encourage people to come volunteer for this organization? What can you say to our public?
Come in and visit just once.
Okay.
Spend some time in the different departments. There are so many different ways of contributing here, and you'll find something that you enjoy doing. I started out working or volunteering in the book department. I then went to the toy department. I did some work in the order department, and now I'm in the doll department. So, it's
So many varieties.
Yes, there are lots of things that we can do and enjoy doing them.
Sure.
I look forward to coming in.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Marcia, for all you do and giving back to the community and making Gifts to Give such a success.
Thank you.
Thank you.